just start off by saying this. You're very upset and you're very frustrated. And you have the right to be upset, and she has the right to be upset because things are not going the way either one of you guys want. We all understand that. And neither one of you guys are always going to make the best decision with your kids because that's what parenting is all about. And you're not going to always be right, nor is she. So the focus here that we should have today is not necessarily about being angry, and I know it's hard to not be angry, and I understand as a man, I'm a father, and I understand you want to be with your kids, and you have every right to feel that way. But being angry, and her being angry is really not benefiting your kids because John Paul's not taking care of his children right now, Valerie. And the reason why he's not doing it is it doesn't matter if I agree with his reasonings, if you agree with his reasonings, it's still current reality. And it doesn't matter that you feel that he wants to have his kids and you don't agree with it. None of that really makes a difference because it's all about what you feel. But the reality is reality, and the reality of it is you two had 3 children together. You made those choices, Valerie, consciously. John Paul, you made those. And I know that having a crystal ball, you wouldn't expect to be where you're at today. And I know you've been struggling, and I know John Paul's been struggling. So, we all been struggling. We've all been together a long time. But at this point, what's going to happen is either we're all going to be reasonable people and not judge what her mother does, what she does as a parent, what you do. She's had it tough as a parent, you know that, okay? And if you go to a court, you're going to deal with the court system, whether it's a month, whether it's 3 months, or whether it's 6 months. The inevitable is going to be the inevitable.
That's right.
Okay? And the inevitable is once courts get involved in your life, it's miserable for everybody, including you, Valerie.
Which is why I've not done anything. I've 3.5 years. The only time I've gotten a lawyer in 3.5 years is when you tried to take my children from me with a bullshit domestic violence case, and you know that's bullshit. So there's.
But John, let's just do this.
Right,
There's no sense. Look,
I'm trying to keep calm.
What we need to do, John, is we need to look at standing on top of the mountain today, and we need to look going forward. Yeah. Not what we did to get to where we're at, because what's going to happen is. There's no question that people play dirty when these things happen.
That's right.
We all do.
Well, let me say this then.
Ending with you, Val, and ending with you.
I am more than willing to support my children. I would live in a tent and give every penny to my children if that's what my children needed.
Right, well, let's just stop.
Don't sit there and roll your eyes and say that I'm not. That's not true, Valerie. Right. You've never tried to let me have my children.
All right, John. Let's let me mediate and just let's try to stick to what the issues here are, not how we feel. Because I know you're hurt. I know she's hurt.
I know she wants money, and I'm telling her I'm willing to do that.
Let's just talk about that for a second. Valerie said her concern, okay, is supporting the children. Let's just deal with that issue for a second.
Right.
Okay. Let's assume today, John Paul, you had everything that you want. So let's take this conversation. What is it you could afford to give her to support your children? What is realistic? Let's talk about that. If she said today, we took a magic wand and everything was perfect, what could you do to help with her biggest problem with you?
I mean, it'd have to be. I mean, I think it'd have to be $700-800 a month. To be a starting point. I don't know. I mean, I've looked at the calculator of what they've put out. What it should be.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question. Now, what would you feel would be fair for John to give you? What would help your situation?
I'm so not ready for this today.
No, it's okay.
I'm just not, Angelo.
I understand that, but Val, we're just having a conversation. I know you're very uncomfortable with the situation, but you have to address this, Valerie, and you can't.
Just talk to me.
You can't put it off, Val. You have to understand that John Paul's trying in his mind, and he's offering to start taking care of you. So instead of us...
I'll pull my lawyers off the table.
But John, let's
whatever you want. I don't want you to be hurt. I mean, I just want you to understand the line between love and hate is so fine that when you go from loving somebody to hating somebody, you forget sometime that, hey, at point, I love this person more than anybody in the world. Valerie, there's a part of me that's never going to stop that. I will always love you. You're the mother of my children. Okay? I have you on a pedestal. I know you don't believe that, and I know you don't think that, but I honestly swear on the life of my children, okay, that's how I feel about you. When you hear me fight with you, when you hear me say something, when I send a text message to you calling you a bitch, that's not because that's what I really feel. That's because that's all I'm left with to fight. I've had nothing to fight with. You have kept my children for 3.5 years. That's your weapon. If you want to piss me off, you just don't answer the phone at 7 o'clock at night and don't let me talk to my kids. If you want to piss me off, you make a play date on my Tuesday so I don't get to see my kids. And then if I mention to my kids, hey, it's not fair that your mommy made a play date today so that you don't want to come with me, you then turn around and make me the bad guy to the kids that I didn't want them to be with their friend. I mean, you let them do things. What would you do? What would you do if the boys came home from a weekend with me and told me that my girlfriend had them shooting assault rifles and shotguns and crossbows for target practice? You would flip your fucking shit. You would have the cops, the SBI, you'd have fucking informants from the mob, you'd have anything you could to knock me the fuck out because I did something so horribly irresponsible. Yet you've got my kids running around in camouflage shirts, going to wrestling practice, and shooting fucking shotguns. I mean, I just, and I don't say nothing about it. I let it go because you're...
Let's stop for a second here. I think what you're saying is very healthy, and I hear what you're saying. But let's stick to something right now. Let's just stick to something.
I just don't get a chance to. I don't get anybody. You see, I'm on an island. I don't have anybody in my life to talk to about this situation. I mean, you realize the damage you've done. Everybody in that school system over there, because of the shit that you've talked to your parents, friends. Do you realize who it hurts? Do you think I give a fuck about what anybody in Banner Elk thinks about me? I'll take all comers. But you've got your poor son. No, stop. You've got your poor son for what?
For growing weed.
For doing something that everybody in this fucking town does? You're the only hypocrite that believes that shit.
You had a police raid your house. I'm sorry that people don't want their children to go to your house because you had a police raid at your home.
Valerie,
Not my fault.
John, do me a favor. Just please for 1 second, guys. This kind